hitting the table and shaking the whole thing. I have to sit still for 1 second of my life.
What are you on right now?
Nothing yet.
Okay.
I haven't taken anything. I'm on an iced chai tea latte.
Those are so good.
I love them. I get an iced chai tea latte with brown sugar syrup, vanilla sweet cream cold foam, oat milk, and cinnamon powder.
Okay, I need that. And
I'll send it to you.
Okay,
It's
yes,
also
please.
$10, so
That's fine.
it's a treat yourself kind of drink.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation. Welcome to Spooky Oki.
I was just about to say, by the way, welcome to Spooky Oki Podcast.
This is a podcast where we don't normally start talking about our Starbucks orders, but why not?
Why not?
Gotta start off light because we're about to get into some heavy stuff.
It's gonna be rough. I'm excited to hear about this story and not excited at the same time.
Oh, I've been warning Catherine all day. This story is dark. This story is dark. You're gonna love it and hate it. It's horrible, and I can't read about it for a minute longer, so I'm ready to get this recorded and done with.
I know. I kept getting texts that were like, be careful or beware, it's gonna be rough. And I was like, okay.
It sucks.
I'll make sure my story is a little bit lighter then.
I'm glad to be done with the research because I couldn't read anymore. Like, I'm very ready to tell this story and never think about it again.
Yeah.
It's one of those that is getting me this time. So that's fun. We're doing a sister state episode. Also, I'm Madison.
And I'm Catherine.
Welcome to Spooky Oki. We're a mess, but you'll get used to it. So we're doing a sister state episode.
Yes.
And what state are we doing?
We're doing New Mexico.
Woo!
I always hesitate for just a second. I'm like, we are, even though we've restated it multiple times to each other, I'm still like, it was New Mexico, right?
Every sister state episode, I panic that I did the wrong state. But actually, this time, I was like, I'm gonna ask Catherine which one she wants to do. Like, you know, whatever. Like, let her pick. And I was thinking, I hope she picks New Mexico. I don't know why, but New Mexico is the first one I thought of. And she said, how about New Mexico? And I was like, yes, that would be great.
We were in sync.
We were in sync.
And we're good.
Pretty excited. And it's fun to be recording in person again together.
Yep.
So I'm going to start because mine is brutal and I want to get it over with.
Yes, let's do this.
So I'm going to tell the story of the toy box killer.
Okay, I am intrigued because I've never heard of this before.
You're lucky.
Okay.
Sorry you don't get to stay that lucky because you're about to hear all about it and it freaking sucks. It's a horrible story. I will say, when I read the name of it, I was like, please don't have anything to do with kids because I can't do that. It doesn't have to do with kids.
Stories are rough.
Like, it sounds like it would because it says toy box. It doesn't have to do with kids. So
okay, I mean,
like,
that's also weird because I was like, okay, this is going to be really rough. A toy box, like, it sounds like it's going to be talking about kids,
yes. But it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't. You'll see where it gets the name, but it doesn't have to do with kids, thank goodness. So let's dive right in, shall we?
Let's do it.
Oh, my sources are allthisinteresting.com, krqe.com, serialkillershop.com, thesun.com, thecrimewire.com, crimelibrary.org, and ranker.com.
Okay. Sounds good.
So here we go. Just settle in.
Does it start rough?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
On the afternoon of March 22nd, 1999, 22-year-old Cynthia Vigil was running down a New Mexico road, naked, covered in blood, and wearing a padlocked dog collar around her neck attached to a 5-foot length of chain.
Holy crap.
That's where we start.
Okay. Okay. All right.
It doesn't ever get any better.
Okay, great.
So, you know, it just gets worse.
Cool.
So, she attempted to wave down a car for help, but the woman driving sped away, which I don't blame her. I also would. I mean, I would drive away and call the police. But
yeah.
I don't blame her. A man in a second car swerved to avoid her, and then he also drove away. Which I'm like, dude, help the woman. Like, I understand the woman not wanting to stop, because I also wouldn't stop as a woman, because it could be a trap.
Right.
A man, help this poor woman covered in blood.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Okay, in 1999, are we in the age? We're still most people having cell phones.
Pre-most people having cell phones,
okay.
I believe. I don't know. I was 3, so I'm not sure.
But there were things like car phones available. Those were more common, right?
I was, let's see, March 22nd. I was about to turn 3, so I don't remember.
Well, I mean, I was just a little bit older. I wasn't much older, but okay.
Yeah. So anyway, she's running down the road.
Okay.
Trying to get help. Cynthia came across multiple small homes and trailers along the road, but she was afraid to stop and take the time to knock on doors because she was running from someone.
Wow. Okay.
So she was scared that if she took the time to try to like knock on the doors, like what if nobody's there? What if the people she's running from are behind her and she doesn't know it? Like she's just trying to think through, how am I going to stay alive?
Okay.
So eventually she spotted a home with the lights on and the door open. So she ran into the home where she saw an elderly woman washing dishes, and the woman's husband came in from one of the back rooms.
Okay.
Can you imagine? You are at home washing dishes, and a naked woman covered in blood with a padlocked dog collar and chains runs into your home.
I can't imagine. I bet there were some broken dishes if she was doing dishes.
Oh yeah, immediate drop, I'm sure. But okay, so
hope that wasn't grandma's china because that's broken.
Yeah. I can't even. I can't.
No. Mm-mm.
But thankfully, she like picked the right people. You know,
okay,
like
good.
She was in the right place.
I was waiting for the other shoe to drop that like she's gonna walk into the home and actually it's the other bad guys.
Right? No.
Okay.
Good people. Thank goodness.
Okay.
So Cynthia later said about this moment of like running into their home. She said, "Quote: She was really calm and she kept me calm. Then her husband came in and said, I heard noise, and he sees me there, naked, bloody, 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 and his eyes, he froze in the doorway." Oh, and it's just like this sweet elderly couple.
Yeah.
The couple immediately became her protectors. They called 911. They got a robe to cover her. She was still naked and bloody.
Yeah.
And they assured her that she was safe now.
Oh,
so they took care of her.
Sweet people.
I know. I love them. I tried to find their names. I could have sworn I found their names in one article and then I couldn't find it again. So maybe that was just an oversight on my part, but we love them. Whoever they are, we love them because they saved her life.
Yes.
And probably many others. So
okay.
Yep. So when police arrived, Cynthia told them her story. So buckle in.
Okay.
Here we go. So 3 days earlier, on March 19th, 1999, Cynthia had been in a parking lot in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay.
She was a sex worker and she had been approached by a man with an RV. When she went back to the RV with him, he pulled out a badge. He stated that he was an undercover cop and she was being arrested for prostitution. Cynthia, however, immediately knew that this wasn't true. Like, she was like, this guy's not a cop. Something bad is happening.
Okay.
So she had had a really rough childhood. She was like abused and molested as a child. She ended up on the streets on her own at like 13.
Oh my god.
She started selling drugs to survive, and then eventually like that just wasn't working out, and she went into sex work at like 13. Like, she was a child. So she had it really rough, but she was really tough. Like, she knew how to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And so she knew that he was not a cop. Like, she was like, there's no way. Like, he's not. I know something's up. She didn't know it yet, but this man was David Parker Ray, who would become known as the Toy Box Killer.
Okay.
She attempted to escape, and she had her hand on the door of the RV to go when the man yelled out, "Cindy." This stopped Cynthia in her tracks because she had never given him her real name. She had just given him a fake name.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But turns out the man was calling for his girlfriend, Cindy Hindi. I'm not kidding. Her name is Cindy Hindi.
Cindy
Hindi. I don't.
Okay. Yep. Nice name. Interesting. Cindy Hindi.
So Cindy Hindi. So we have Cynthia, who is the victim.
Okay.
The survivor. Cynthia is the survivor. Cindy is the girlfriend. So Cindy appeared from behind a curtain and she shocked Cynthia with the cattle prod.
Oh, okay, great.
So Cynthia was then, and she was so close. Like, she literally had her hand on the door. She was almost out. Like, she probably wouldn't have gotten away even if she hadn't stopped for a second because the name threw her off. But like that split second, she was just like, I didn't tell him my name. Like, froze for a second. And like, it probably wouldn't have even been long enough to make a difference. Like, she probably wasn't going to make it out. But like, what if she had?
What if she had?
Like,
yeah.
Ugh, so awful. So, so she got shocked with the cattle prod, and then she was dragged to the back of the RV and handcuffed to a cabinet.
Great.
So now she's stuck. However, Cynthia, being the survivor that she is, being tough and street smart, she immediately starts thinking of escape plans. She is like thinking on her feet. She's looking around, seeing her surroundings. She's aware. She's like trying to save herself immediately.
Right.
So she unscrewed the cabinet that she was handcuffed to, and she decided that she would jump out of the RV as soon as it had slowed down enough, because they had started driving by that point.
Okay.
So she was like kind of feeling how fast it was going. She had unscrewed the cabinet so that she could get the handcuff off of it. And she was like, as soon as, like, there's the door. As soon as it gets slow enough to where I can jump out, like, I'm bolting out that door. Unfortunately, Ray hit the brakes pretty hard.
Oh, no.
Without knowing, like, he didn't know that she was up and free, but just happened to hit the brakes really hard right then, and it caused her to tumble. And so Cindy heard the noise and saw that Cynthia was free.
Oh, no.
And she came back there with a gun and called Ray back there. And then this is the last thing that Cynthia remembers before everything went black.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So she, like, almost made it out again. Like, she was so close. So this is when it starts getting, like, it's already rough, but it starts getting really rough.
I'm not ready for this. Okay.
So she later awoke to the sound of Ray's voice playing on a cassette tape.
Creepy.
The 30-minute tape was a general advisory meant to intimidate and psychologically disarm his victims.
That is so creepy.
Yeah. It is horrible. Absolutely horrible. Stuff of nightmares, truly. The audio, which Ray recorded in 1993 and used throughout the 90s.
That's not great. Okay.
Nope. So it proposed that Ray was not acting alone in the abductions. The introductory tape also explained that Ray was playing a quote-unquote torture game, and detailed how the captors planned to continually rape the victims for at least a month. In detail. Says exactly, like, it's like methodical, like it's just very dry, and like, this is what we're gonna do. Like, it lays out what's going to be done to them for the next, like, month or so. Gosh. It's horrible. The full transcript is online.
No, thank
but
you.
just be warned, like, it is horrible and graphic and awful, and I couldn't make it through. Like, I was like, okay, I found it. Let me look at it. I stopped, like, a few sentences in, and I was like, I don't want to read this. I don't want this in my head. So, I discouraged looking it up. Like, it's out there if somebody wants to read it, I guess, but, like, don't read it. I am going to share a couple quotes from it just so you get an idea of kind of what was in it, but, like, don't go read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to do that unless you really want to, I guess. But, like, I was like, for my mental health, I'm not going to read that whole thing. But here's a few quotes that were, like, listed in articles.
Yeah.
So here's one. Quote, "We both know why you've been brought here today. Your wrists and ankles are chained, and you're gagged because you're not going to like the way I do it. You're going to be kept here naked and chained down. I'm going to use you for a sex slave. If I thought that you knew too much to cause damage, you would not be turned loose. You would simply disappear." End quote. That was just, like, a little chunk. This thing is, like, 30 minutes long, like, detailing it.
Oh, that's so creepy.
Graphically what he's going to do.
Scary and just awful.
So it ends with the quote, "Be smart and be a survivor. Don't ever scream. Don't talk without permission. Be very quiet. Be docile and obedient. And by all means, show proper respect. Have a nice day." The "have a nice day" really gets me.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it, I don't know why.
Psycho.
It's such a weird way to end that. And it freaks me out. I don't like it.
That is psycho.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it's just horrible. So Cynthia was strapped to a gynecological chair in Ray's quote unquote toy box.
Okay.
Which was a soundproof trailer parked behind his home in Elephant Butte, New Mexico.
Oh my gosh.
The trailer contained sex toys and devices equipped specifically for sexual torture, including whips, chains, straps, clamps, and surgical blades. It also included a sign that said "Satan's Den."
Oh my gosh. I keep saying "oh my gosh," and I can't stop.
It's one of those, what else are you gonna say?
I don't know what else to say. This is horrible.
It's horrible. It is horrible. So, at this point, I could go into detail about what he did to his victims, but I'm not going to, because he doesn't deserve to get attention for his creative torture.
No.
Like, we don't need to know exactly what he did.
No.
So I'd rather focus on, like, his victims and how he got caught and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say, for the next 3 days, Cynthia was brutally tortured in the worst ways imaginable. And that's all we need to know.
Okay.
However, on the third day, Ray went to work. He worked for the New Mexico Parks Department. He was like a maintenance guy.
Okay.
And he left Cindy to watch Cynthia. Cindy made 2 mistakes that day. She left the room to answer a phone call, and when she left the keys to Cynthia's restraints on a table pretty close to Cynthia, like in plain sight. Cynthia, after 3 days of brutal, awful, horrible torture, is still with it enough to be thinking about how to escape. Like, she is still surviving. She's still working through, like...
That's incredible.
She realizes the keys are on the table. And so she used her feet to pull the table close to her so she grabbed the keys. She was able to grab them and unlock one of the padlocks that held her captive. It never said this, but I'm assuming there's one padlocked around her neck, or like on the collar, and then she had chain. So I'm thinking she must have undone like the one that kept the chain to the chair. Is my thought. Yeah, that's what makes sense to me. So she was able to get that one unlocked. Then she was working on the second padlock, but Cindy returned and found Cynthia in the middle of escaping. So Cindy grabbed a lamp and started beating Cynthia with it. Cynthia was still able to get to the phone, dial 911, grab an ice pick that they had previously used to torture her.
Oh my gosh.
And she stabbed Cindy with it.
Good.
Cindy was fine, but like it slowed her down enough for her to escape. So she then fled out the door and started running. And that brings us back to where we started. Okay. Where she's running down the road.
No, I don't blame her for not stopping at the houses.
No, she had to put as much distance between her and that place as possible.
Yes.
Like,
oh gosh.
Yeah. So police not only responded to the call from the couple who found Cynthia, but they also responded to the interrupted 911 call that she had started from the trailer when she tried to escape. So she started the 911 call, stabbed her, and ran.
Good job.
So they knew where to go. Police went there. And then they just had this other call. So they were able to like piece together what had happened and have an exact location to go to.
Good job, Cynthia.
We love her. So anyway, they apprehended Ray and Cindy as they were leaving the trailer.
Good.
Both were arrested and brought in for questioning, where they told police that they were trying to help Cynthia kick a terrible heroin habit.
Interesting. How exactly?
I don't know. It's an interesting way to try to kick a drug habit, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
Not a typical treatment, I would say.
No. I'm gonna say no.
So apparently they had decided on that story beforehand. Like, they both told police that was their story. However, Cynthia had given them a lot of details. She had given police a ton of details. She was also chained. She had a padlocked dog collar on her neck with a chain behind her, and she was bloody and naked.
Yeah.
Their story doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Obviously.
No.
So,
were they chaining her there so she can't get heroin, but while also beating the heroin out of her? I'm not understanding the full story.
Makes zero sense.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what they told police, though.
Great.
But police obtained a warrant to search Ray's property, and they found everything that Cynthia had told them about, and a lot more than they could have ever expected.
Gosh, I can't.
Yeah. So they found the gun and the broken lamp, matching Cynthia's description of the struggle.
Okay.
So they got that to back up her story, because it had become like he said, she said.
Right.
I mean, like, there wasn't the physical evidence or whatever. I mean, I'm sure there was, but like, you know, at that point, they were like, oh, who are we going to believe, you know? So thankfully they looked into it, though, especially because she was a sex worker.
Yeah. Sometimes that doesn't get looked into.
Exactly. Yeah. So they found gun and broken lamp. They also found Ray's fake police badge and his written instructions for Cindy about watching Cynthia while he was gone. They found Cynthia's clothing and an assortment of medical devices that Cynthia had described.
I don't like that.
And then they also found the audio tape that she told them about.
Okay.
So they've got everything. They've got all the things they need. So these items were all found in the double wide trailer that Ray and Cindy lived in. But then next to the trailer was the enclosed smaller trailer that would typically be used for like moving cargo or something, just like one of those like white enclosed ones, you know. And this is where it gets very, very dark.
Oh no,
as if it wasn't already dark.
And now it gets really
it gets dark.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
This trailer is his toy box. This is what he refers to as the toy box.
Okay.
So they found all of like those first things in their home, in their trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go into the toy box and they see, well, here's a description of the trailer from crimelibrary.org.
Okay.
It's long. Prepare yourself. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So the space was 15 by 25 feet, entirely devoted to sexual torture. Ray had drawn pictures of what he planned to do to the victims, and to accomplish his visions, he had gathered a number of surgical instruments to inflict different types of torment.
Disgusting. Okay.
He also used medical manuals specifically devoted to female anatomy. He also had a homemade electrical device that was clearly intended for inflicting pain, and a number of syringes and means of keeping a person under restraint. Then there were the obvious sexual implements such as large dildos, belts, and whips. There was also a home video of the couple applying these implements to a woman who seemed terrified.
Oh my gosh.
And it wasn't Cynthia, it was somebody else.
Oh my gosh.
They said it was uncomfortable to watch her scream as Ray methodically threatened and hurt her.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Ray also placed a TV monitor in the right-hand corner of the trailer, so his victims, who were secured to the chair as he tortured them, could see what he was doing to them by looking at the monitor.
Oh. Why is that?
It's
even worse.
Awful.
Oh.
So he had a video camera focused on the gynecology chair to view his operations. He had the whole place rigged with a series of chains and pulleys. He also had drawings of things he wanted to do, as well as photographs of the torture he'd inflicted on other women.
Oh my gosh.
In addition, he had a series of dolls strung up in various states of bondage and torture.
Oh my gosh.
It's creepy.
That is...
There are pictures of this place online, and it is horrible. Things I never wanted to see. Like, it's terrifying.
Oh my gosh.
It's so awful. So that's the end of the description of the trailer. Thank goodness, because I can't handle anymore. He had spent
sick at my stomach. Okay.
He had spent over $100,000 building this toy box.
Holy crap.
Yep. So Ray and Cindy were both detained, obviously.
Good.
And charged with 12 counts, including kidnapping, aggravated battery, and conspiracy. Their bail was set at $1 million each.
Good. So they should not be out.
No, they should never see the light of day again.
No.
Police knew that with this much planning and such an elaborate setup, that he likely had a lot of other victims before Cynthia.
Was definitely not a first time thing.
Certainly not. No. Plus they had, like, they knew there was at least one other woman because there was a videotape, and then it said there were photographs of other women being tortured.
So they knew there were at least that many more.
If it was photographs in the same space, like if they were able to connect that it for sure was him and not just like photographs he had gotten, you know?
Right.
As long as they were able to connect, they knew there were a lot more.
Yeah.
But they knew for sure there was one more because they saw the videotape of them doing that to her.
Yeah.
So, they knew there was at least one other victim. Once the story reached the media, other victims began coming forward. This part's gonna make you so mad. Because it makes me mad.
Okay.
So a woman named Angelica from the nearby town Truth or Consequences. That's the town's name.
Seriously?
Can we take a minute?
Truth or Consequences?
Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. I want to go there, but I also don't want to go there after this. But that's the town
name of the town.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
That's insane.
It's crazy.
And I thought Oklahoma had weird name towns.
Yeah, at least we're not Truth or Consequences. That's wild.
Maybe in our sister state episodes, we should have like a segment that's crazy. Yes.
That would be fun. That would lighten the mood a little bit.
Yes.
So that's my segment right now is Truth or Consequences. Also, Elephant Butte.
Elephant Butte.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yes.
So elephant
which looks
butt.
like elephant butt.
Uh-huh.
Which is near Truth or Consequences.
Nice.
It's a wild place apparently. Anyway, so now we're gonna get back to the part that's gonna make us mad. So a woman named Angelica.
What in the world?
What? What?
There was just a bubble thing that had a like on it.
What? Nobody can watch this.
That was freaky.
I don't like that. I wonder if it's going to show up in the recording.
I mean, it should.
Why did it... Was that from like another application or something? Like,
I don't know. It was just like a bubble with a like in it. Yes. Like the thumbs up like.
People can't watch this, right?
They shouldn't be able to.
I'm scared now.
Well, that was freaky.
I don't like that. What if somebody's watching us? If you're watching, go away. I mean, not on like YouTube when we upload it.
But like,
if you're on our Zoom call right now, get off.
I mean,
it just says participants 1. What the heck? Reactions.
oh,
Did we? I don't know. His hand. It's not recognizing anything. I'm so confused. We're just gonna keep going and act like nothing happened.
Okay.
That was weird.
I swear.
Dude, it better show up in the recording or we're gonna look crazy.
Okay.
Okay.
Continue on.
Okay. Anyway, back to the part that's gonna make us angry.
Okay.
So a woman named Angelica from the nearby town Truth or Consequences came forward to say that she'd suffered a similar ordeal at the hands of this couple just the month before.
Oh my gosh.
She was not the woman in the video, so she was yet a third possible victim.
Oh my gosh.
She was an acquaintance of the defendants, she said, and she had entered their home on February 17th to borrow cake mix.
Oh no.
Just like an innocent,
yeah,
casual, like going over to your neighbors to borrow some cake mix.
Yeah.
Gonna borrow some flour, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and then Ray had left and come back with a knife, informing her that she was being kidnapped. She had looked over at Cindy and had seen her holding a gun, and that's when she knew that they were serious.
They were serious. It wasn't like some bad practical joke.
Right.
This
no,
was
they were
actual...
serious. She was being kidnapped.
Oh my gosh.
So she was tortured exactly like Cynthia was, which we're not going to go into. But on the 4th day, she somehow convinced them to let her go. I don't know how she did it. She convinced them to let her go.
Dang.
So they drove her like miles and miles away and dumped her on a local highway out just in the desert. Probably thinking she wouldn't live, honestly.
Right.
But she was found and picked up by a police officer out there.
Okay.
She reported what had happened to her.
Oh my gosh.
But it was not followed up on.
No. Why? Why?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
That is your job.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you not?
I hope someone got fired.
I hope somebody did too, because that is gross negligence of their job duties.
Yep. And then a month later, somebody else gets kidnapped by the same couple and horribly tortured and could have died. Yes. And this could have been prevented if they had done their job. Because obviously, this woman knew where they lived. She knew their names.
Yes.
They had all the information they needed.
Yes.
So,
why was this? Is there ever a reason?
Nope. It just wasn't followed up on.
Oh, I don't have words.
Mm-hmm. It made me very angry. And I don't get angry, but I was very angry.
She could have easily died.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been preventable by that person. Mm-hmm. It would have been their fault.
Not only she could have easily died, but if she hadn't then escaped,
and then more people could
had
have
such a dramatic scene to where they had to do something,
then other
people. Yeah. He wasn't going to stop.
No.
So, anyway, if it had been followed up on, none of this would have happened to Cynthia.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love that. So, thank you, police. Wow. So, it wasn't followed up on. However, now that the case had gained widespread attention, she was able to come forward again and be taken seriously.
Wow.
Shouldn't take that to be taken seriously as a woman reporting a violent sexual crime. But that's what it is. That's the world we live in, folks.
And he didn't even believe her with, like, because there would have been evidence on her of the... Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Yep. It wasn't followed up on.
Okay.
So, that's just great.
And it's scary. It's because it's like, we should be able to trust
the people who are supposed to be there to protect us
are going to protect us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should. We sure should.
What was her ethnicity? Do we know?
I don't know.
Okay.
It didn't even give a last name, actually.
Okay.
I will say part of his MO is targeting like lower socioeconomic classes, sex workers, people who are already very vulnerable and aren't going to have people looking for them. So I don't know if maybe she was a sex worker or in a situation where people weren't going to be looking for her if she disappeared. Like, if there was maybe a reason that people weren't taking her seriously because she wasn't a
right.
middle class or wealthy white woman. But, you know, yeah. So
Wow. Okay.
that happened a month before.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And remind me again, so was she from that area?
I think so.
Okay.
Because she was like their acquaintance. I assume probably must have lived relatively close if she went over to just borrow cake mix. Yeah. Like my thought is probably a neighbor or something. Like she must have been relatively close. Yeah. So.
And Cynthia was from?
She was from Albuquerque. So I think it's like 150 or 200 miles away. So they like went and picked her up and then drove.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yep. But now she was taken seriously because they had to, because it had media attention.
Thank goodness.
Yep.
It shouldn't take that though.
It shouldn't take
crime
that
to be taken seriously.
No.
Okay.
So let's jump back into this.
Now that my blood pressure is up. Okay.
I know it. I have been so on edge all day, just like frustrated.
No wonder you were going, oh
yeah,
before we start the recording.
Yep.
Okay.
So police turned their attention towards Cindy, who was willing to give information in exchange for a plea deal. She sold him out.
Good.
Real quick. So 37-year-old.
I hope the plea deal doesn't mean that she doesn't get a lot of jail time. Oh, great.
37-year-old Cindy was from Seattle. She had abandoned her 3 children there and fled to New Mexico to escape charges for forgery, theft, and possession of drugs.
Nice.
Which, listen,
Mom of the Year, right there.
I'm not one to judge what people have to do to escape a bad life situation. Like, I'm not judging the charges of like possession of drugs. It didn't say what kind of drugs. She could have just had weed on her, like whatever. I'm not judging the forgery and theft. However, probably shouldn't abandon your kids. But
I'm judging hardcore for
that. But why I will rip her apart is what she went and did after. You know, like is that she got involved in all of this willingly. Like so she's obviously a terrible person. If it was just somebody on the run from the law because they got in trouble for forgery and stuff. Right. I don't know her life situation. Maybe she did it to survive, whatever, you know? Right. Like under normal circumstances, I'm not judging somebody for that. The fact that she then went and kidnapped and tortured and helped murder people, that's what I'm judging. Yes. So. And also, please don't abandon your children.
Definitely don't abandon your children.
Although they were really better. Well, without her.
True.
So,
but
since she's a murderer.
Yeah.
But anyway, sticky situation. We should probably move on.
Okay.
So anyway, police discovered that Cindy had gotten drunk and told her friend that she participated in Ray's attacks because it gave her an adrenaline rush.
Oh, wow.
She also told this friend that there were between 4 and 6 people who had been killed, dismembered, and tossed into Elephant Butte Lake by Ray.
Oh my gosh.
At the time, the friend didn't believe her because that sounds crazy.
She thought she was just drunk and like making up crap.
Yeah, hallucinating. Who knows? Like just being crazy. No, apparently it was true, probably. So once the story came out, the friend told police about the comments that she had made. Because he was like, I guess it's true. You should probably know this. Wow. So when police approached Cindy for information in exchange for a significantly lightened sentence, she provided details of Ray's murders, which totaled 14, at least in the time they were together, because I've seen other numbers.
Okay.
So the ones that she provided details of, it was 14. Gotcha. And maybe it was only 14. Like, who's to say?
I mean, 14 is...
14 is a pretty low number for spending $100,000 on a torture chamber, I'm going to say.
But it's still a lot.
It's still a lot. A whole lot. Way too many. One is way too many, obviously, but you know what I mean. So Cindy claimed that Ray had dumped many bodies in lakes and ravines in south central New Mexico. That was kind of his MO. Okay. He learned that I guess he killed like a business associate. I didn't actually put this in the notes because I had to just stop. There are things that I left out because I was like, I can't
take this anymore.
Yeah. But he had like killed a business associate apparently, and tried to dispose of him in the lake, but then he floated back up, and so that's how he learned you have to cut open the abdomen so that it fills with water and they sink.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So interesting thing to know.
Try again. Mm-hmm. If you don't succeed, try again. Okay. He was nothing if not Persistent.
Yeah. So he perfected his routine, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah. So Cindy also revealed that Ray had other accomplices.
Okay.
Get ready. It's another thing that's going to make you
angry.
These included his own daughter.
No.
Glinda Jessie Ray. She goes by Jessie.
No.
And a man named Dennis Roy Yancey. He was working with his own daughter to kidnap, brutally sexually assault and torture, and then murder women with his own daughter.
Oh my gosh. That's sick on
so many levels. On so many levels. Yeah, I
don't see how you're able to get through these notes. This is
with
rough.
great difficulty. Can't wait to have a margarita or something after this.
Yes.
So this one sucks. You're welcome, guys. I'm gonna need time to recover from this one.
Yeah.
The research about did me in. I mean, I was like, I'm gonna have to pick a different story. It's awful. So he was working with his daughter to do all this. And then also this guy named Dennis Roy Yancey. So Ray had worked with Jesse and Dennis in the murder of a 22-year-old mother of two, Marie B. Parker.
Okay.
Yeah. Marie was actually Dennis's ex-girlfriend.
Oh.
And on July 5th, 1997, Dennis went with Ray and his daughter Jessie to a saloon for what he thought was a drug deal. Instead, Ray and Jessie exited the saloon with Marie, handcuffed her, and told her that they would kill her if she spoke.
Oh my gosh.
They tortured Marie for 3 days before deciding they were, quote, done with her.
Oh my gosh.
Ray gave Dennis a rope and told him to strangle Marie, which he did. Strangled his ex. Even though he thought he thought they were going there for a drug deal. He didn't anticipate any of this, apparently.
But he went ahead and did it.
He went ahead and killed her. Murdered her. Strangled her. Which is a very intimate way to kill somebody.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's
a lot of effort.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah. So he did it. And then Ray and Dennis dumped her body in a remote location. So Dennis Yancey was arrested on April 10th, 1999, and sentenced to 2 sentences of 15 years each for second-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. So,
okay,
they were also served concurrently, so it was just 15 years. And
that's
he's
ridiculous.
probably, I mean, I guess he's out by now if he's still alive and stuff. And probably was out a long time before 15 years, I'm sure, because that's how our justice system works. Gosh. Isn't that great? You can be locked up for a long time for having some weed, but you can torture and kill people and you're out real fast.
That's so stupid.
Yep. Great. I'm going to not get into that too much because I will be angry. Anyway, Cindy's sentence was reduced from 25 counts to 5 counts of conspiracy and being an accessory to murder. She was sentenced to 36 years, but I saw somewhere that she got out within months, basically. It was so short.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if that's true, but I do know that she's out now. She's certainly not still in prison. She's out. She should never get out.
No.
She was involved in multiple murders. A happy, willing accomplice.
Yes.
She shouldn't ever see the light of day again.
No, because who knows what she's going to go out and do again.
Yep. So.
Oh my gosh.
Later, another woman came forward with information about one of the victims. So the woman claimed that her daughter-in-law had gone missing for a few days. It was a new daughter-in-law. She had been married to the woman's son for a few days. They were newlyweds. But she came back and she was disheveled and she wasn't able to explain where she had been. So they assumed that she was on drugs or having an affair and they asked her to leave. So her new husband divorced her, thinking that she was out cheating or on drugs or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that horrible?
That's horrible.
And she couldn't remember. She couldn't remember what had happened.
Her brain had just...
Well, we'll get to it.
Okay.
So police located the woman, who was now in Colorado, and they identified her as the woman in the videotape.
Oh my gosh.
So they knew exactly what had happened to her.
Yeah.
Because it was taped. But the woman could only remember a few details about what had happened because she had been drugged with phenobarbital. That's what he would do to his victims. It was something else and phenobarbital that he would drug them with.
Wow.
I forgot to write the other one down, but he would drug them with things so that even if they did escape or whatever, like they couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Apparently he hadn't drugged Cynthia yet or something, or she was able to remember still. I don't know.
Wow.
But yeah, that's why the woman couldn't remember what had happened. She had been drugged and brutally tortured for 3 days. Or whatever it was. So yeah. So she couldn't remember a lot of what had happened because she was drugged.
Yeah.
But she did remember Jesse, and she remembered being taken to the trailer. She said that Ray had threatened her with a knife while Jesse restrained her. She was stripped and tied to a bench in a small room, and she was able to accurately recall items from the toy box. She was then dropped off near her in-laws' house, disoriented and unable to remember most of what had happened.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So she remembered enough to be like, well, there was this and there was this. Like she remembered the details so they knew.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously they also had the videotape of what had happened, but
Right.
like her story also lined up. So like there's another victim. So on April 26th
How
of
does he just get a hold of phenobarbital? Like,
I have no idea.
okay.
No clue. So Jessie was arrested and charged with kidnapping women for sexual torture. She was sentenced to 9 years, with 6 of those being suspended.
No.
And then 5 years of probation.
Oh my gosh. What is Never go to New Mexico. Holy crap.
I mean, that's just America for you, but you know.
Yeah.
You're gonna be so angry at this next bullet point too.
No.
Yep. So Ray himself, he was sentenced to over 223 years in prison.
Okay.
But he died of a heart attack just 1 year after being sentenced.
At least he's dead.
He got off so easy though.
But yes.
1 year in prison.
I was hoping he was gonna get shanked.
Right?
Slowly.
No, he just had a heart attack and died. After 1 year. He served 1 year for all of that. That one's not on the justice system, I will say.
That one's not the justice system's fault.
As much as I love to blame our justice system for how messed up it is,
I mean,
that one wasn't its fault. It was
I'm just glad
whatever.
that he's dead.
I know, me too, but like,
I know he should have served more, but at least he's dead.
I know, it just doesn't feel like justice, you know? Like, he served 1 year.
I know. But hey, less
it makes
money,
me mad.
less taxpayer money.
That's true. Anyway, so
I wish his death had been more violent. I wish he'd been shanked. But
I know. Are we terrible people?
Maybe, but I don't care.
For somebody like that, I'm like,
he needed to die slowly.
Yeah.
He needed to be tortured like he tortured others.
Mad. Makes me so mad. And yeah, it's saving us tax money. Are we using it for good things?
No.
Anyway, I'm not gonna get on that either.
Okay.
Okay. So it's believed that Ray likely started his crimes in the late 1950s when he was just 17 years old. Apparently, he told his first wife that he had said that he had been raping women. He used different terms for women since he was a teen. And then he also told he was a horrible person. Horrible. And then he also told his first wife that he murdered and raped and killed his first victim, or like kidnapped, raped, and killed the first victim when he was 17, is what he said. So
wow.
So that's a long time to have been doing that.
An incredibly long time.
It is believed that he may have had between 50 and 60 victims.
Holy moly.
Ugh. But he was really good at targeting women who were already vulnerable. Yeah. And we're going to have somebody looking for them and all of that. So he got away with it for decades, most likely. Wow. Yep. He also, so at one point, it's said that his daughter, Jessie, told police, like reported to police that her dad was like kidnapping and torturing women and then selling them to like somebody in Mexico, but it was never followed up on. There's no actual report of there being a report filed. Like, that's something that she said happened, but then she had later joined in on it. Like, so I don't know the story, but like I don't know how being a maintenance man for the parks department paid him enough to have $100,000 torture chamber.
Well, if he did drugs on the side.
Yeah. So maybe.
But
maybe
still,
that. But it would explain where women went. Like, you would think 50 to 60 victims, they would have found a lot more bodies around the area.
You would think.
And they weren't discovering bodies. So maybe a lot of them weren't killed. Maybe a lot of them were sold. which is also horrible. So, yeah.
Okay.
So that might explain where he got the money for the trailer. That's just kind of an extra detail that I was like, who knows? But apparently she told a reporter that she had reported to police that this had happened like years ago, but then it wasn't followed up on. But then she joined in on it. Like, I don't know. It doesn't really add up, but there's that detail. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
So, on a good note.
Okay.
Cynthia survived her attack.
Yes.
She's good. And she was able to do a lot of good for others.
Okay, great.
So she's the one who had a really rough life, like was on her own at 13. I mean, just had to fend for herself and survive forever. Like even before that was abused and just had it really rough. But she survived. She pays it forward now with a nonprofit that she founded called Street Safe New Mexico.
Great.
So she and her partner, Christine Barber, pay for hotel rooms for women on the street to shower and sleep.
Oh, nice.
They also hand out essentials, including clothes, and they testify in court when a woman gets raped to make sure the woman gets the last word.
That is
so she's out there standing up for other women and making sure that their voices are heard.
That is,
which is amazing. And it like gives me goosebumps. Like I
have
just
chills.
got
I have
goosebumps
chills too. Oh
so
my gosh.
We love her. So we're gonna end with a quote from Cynthia.
Yes, please.
She said, "I'm not his victim. I was never his victim. I wish he could have known that."
I love her.
We love her. That's why earlier I said victim, and then I was like, no, sorry, survivor. The survivor. Because she was like, I was not his victim. I was never his victim.
Yes.
And so wanted to respect that. So that is the story of the Toy Box Killer.
Wow.
And
I'm glad it's done.
Done with that.
I'm glad it's done.
That freaking sucked. And
that was horrible.
Tired. I am emotionally drained.
That was horrible.
Yep.
Thank you for that awful story.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well. Are you ready for a spooky story?
I'm so ready. Please.
Okay.
Take my mind off of this.
So, I am talking about the La Fonda Hotel in Santa Fe.
I have never heard of it.
I had not either. And I think we should go.
I want to go to Santa Fe solely because there are multiple songs in musical theater about how great Santa Fe is.
Yes, like in Newsies.
Newsies?
Yeah.
There one in Rent, right?
There might be.
I think so. There's one in another show. I don't really like Rent, so I don't know if it's in Rent, but I think it might be. They talk about Santa Fe all the time.
Yeah.
It must be great because it's in the musicals.
Yep.
It made it to the theater, so it must be good.
We gotta go.
Yep, let's go.
Okay.
We say this about every single haunted place. We're like, we're gonna go.
I know, we feel like we need like our bucket list of spooky places that we're gonna stay.
I'm going to that one in Eureka Springs, and I'm
so jealous.
Excited.
That's awesome.
I'm so excited.
Okay, so my sources are thelineup.com, SantaFeNewMexican.com, HauntedRooms.com, LegendsOfAmerica.com, and SavingPlaces.org. All right. So La Fonda Hotel was built in 1922. However, its location is the same location that the first inn in Santa Fe was when Santa Fe was founded in 1607.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's a really long time ago.
Yeah.
My American brain cannot grasp anything before about the 1800s.
Yeah.
I mean, late 1700s, I guess.
Yeah.
1776 is as far back as it goes for me regarding America.
Yeah. So, crazy. Yeah, 1607.
That is so cool.
Local legend says that there was also a courthouse at the same location at one time.
Okay.
And that
did the courthouse house prisoners?
Well, the courtyard, or the what is
hangings?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is
sorry,
now?
I should not. I'm sorry.
What is now the hotel lobby was where they would hang guilty people found guilty in the courthouse. So, the hotel has been damaged and rebuilt multiple times. Okay, now more in your line of thinking. Okay. In 1821.
There we go. I can grasp that.
When Captain William Becknell blazed the path of what would become known as the Santa Fe Trail, he stayed at the hotel. It wasn't known as La Fonda then, but he stayed there. And that was the end point of the trail.
Okay. Wow.
It would end up at the hotel.
That's
so
wild.
It became a popular place for trappers, for traders, mountain men, soldiers, politicians. Anybody that would travel that trail would end up going to that hotel.
Okay, yeah. Booming place.
Booming place. Soon after New Mexico became a U.S. territory in 1848, the inn was purchased by new owners who changed its name to the U.S. Hotel.
Okay. Not the most creative. They could have done better.
They could have done better.
There are a lot of U.S. hotels, I will say. Might be confusing.
And when they did, I'm not sure if at that point they built the gambling hall or it just became popular at that time, but it became a major feature of the hotel.
Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah, so gambling hall means lots of fights, lots of violence.
A fun place.
Yes. So
I say, as the most boring person ever, as if I spend time in anywhere like that. But for these stories, I'm like, oh yeah, gambling hall. Speakeasy.
Speakeasy.
Ready for it.
So one of the ghosts that is spotted around the hotel is tied to this gambling hall.
Okay, they always are.
They always are, because he lost his life in 1857 when he was strung up in the hotel's backyard by a lynch mob.
Whoa. Okay.
Yep.
It got serious fast.
I read in varying stories. So one story said that he owed money to some people, like his luck turned bad and he couldn't pay it back, so they killed him. But also you don't get money back from dead people.
Yeah.
So
that would be a stupid thing to do.
Unless it's just that's your warning to the rest of people that owe you.
Maybe they knew they weren't going to get money at all.
And so they were like going to kill him as a signal to the rest. Yeah. Could be. So but so people have actually reported seeing him in a tree.
I don't like that. I don't like those kind of ghosts.
I know.
I want more of Theodora.
I know.
Looking for her keys and
I don't have any Theodoras. Man. I know.
I hope I see Theodora when I'm there at the Crescent.
I hope so too. I'm so jealous.
I'm so excited.
Okay, so 10 years later in 1867, the Honorable John P. Slough, I don't know if that's how you say his name, S-L-O-U-G-H. Slough? I like Slough.
That ending can say many things. Slough.
Slough.
Slog. Slow. It's one of those. Take your pick.
I'm going to go with Slough.
That sounds good.
That's how I was saying it in my head.
Great.
Chief Justice of the Territorial Supreme Court was shot to death in the hotel lobby.
Oh, no.
So Slough was in a dispute with Captain Reinerson, who was a member of the territorial legislature representing Donna Ana County. And Slough called Reinerson a liar and a thief.
So he killed him?
He was offended and he shot him.
That is an insecure man right there. Just saying.
And Slough died of his wounds. Although Reinerson was tried, he was later acquitted.
Do I need to bring up the justice system again in this episode? Because apparently it hasn't changed much.
From 1867.
Well, there's a lot of things about our country that haven't changed much from the very beginning and need to change. But let's not start on that.
Let's keep going. Now guests actually will see Honorable John Slough wandering through the hotel in his signature long black coat.
Oh.
So one particular story, on one evening, a guest was hearing heavy footsteps going back and forth in the hallway. It just kept going and going until late in the night and he couldn't sleep. So finally he called down to the front desk and said, listen, this is getting ridiculous. Like, I can't sleep.
Yeah.
And so the hotel employee goes up to check. He sees a man in the hallway wearing a long black coat. The man goes into the stairwell. The employee follows him and he's not there.
And the employee is like, sir, I'm so sorry. I can't do anything because it was a ghost. So free breakfast on us.
For the
That's all I can
inconvenience. So it wasn't long after Honorable Slough was killed that the hotel changed hands again and it became the Exchange Hotel.
Okay.
So that was the name that
sounds familiar.
It operated under that name for nearly 6 decades.
Okay. Cool.
More than a century ago, a distraught salesman who lost his company's money in a card game leaped to his death down a deep well that was located just outside of the gambling hall.
Down a well, not just off a balcony?
Not
not off the roof?
He dived head first into the well.
Ooh, I don't like that.
No.
Mm-mm.
So some people, so the well is now closed over, but it's outside of a restaurant near the hotel.
Oh, okay.
So like, I'm not sure if it's the restaurant for the hotel or if it's just near in the same area. I think it's like an area that has a lot of stuff around it.
Yeah.
But guests and people eating at this restaurant will actually see a man run into the patio, jump, and then just disappear.
What a meal.
What
a dinner. Can you imagine? You're there on a first date. And that happens.
You're just like, what?
That is there's not going to be a second date because this is too crazy, or we're bonded for life now.
And now we're married.
Now we're married right now. Like, that is wild.
Isn't that insane?
What a crazy thing to experience.
I
my
know.
Goodness.
Sorry, okay. So there's also a ghost of a young bride who was murdered on her wedding night by an ex-lover.
Oh no.
So she is seen haunting the wedding suite, room 510, as well as the lobby, an elevator, and the basement.
If I ever get married, that's where I'm honeymooning, is that wedding suite right there. Santa Fe, here I come.
Santa Fe, here
I'm just kidding. I don't want to honeymoon in Santa Fe. But
no.
But wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's wild.
And so like several employees have seen a woman like walk by in a wedding dress. Yeah. The employees have seen some crazy things. There's also the ghost of a cowboy who haunts the bar.
Somebody tell Christine from And That's Why We Drink. She loves cowboy ghosts.
One former employee, Becky Ortiz, she worked there for about 30 plus years. I'm not sure if she was, it didn't say what her role was in the hotel. It didn't say like if she was still working there at the time of the article. But she said maybe 2 years after she'd been working there, she heard somebody walking behind her, and it sounded like they were wearing spurs, and like the spurs were scraping across the tile as they were walking. And it was the dead of winter. Not many travelers were staying in the rooms, and when she turned around, there was nobody behind her. But she said, I could feel him and hear him plain as day. I'm like, how creepy.
That's awesome though.
It's so cool, but it's so cool like to hear that clink and like
it's such a specific sound.
Yes.
Like, you know exactly what it is. Wild.
So this article came out in 2020. And so the employees said that actually during the shutdown, it became more active.
Oh, they got bored.
Yeah. And it became more active.
I did not become more active during the shutdown.
No. It said that even employees that had been hesitant to believe in the stories were full-fledged believers.
Wild.
Director of sales Ed Pulsifer said that for weeks during the spring, when he would get there, the first floor elevator doors would be opening and they'd be opening and closing over and over. And some people were like, well, couldn't it just be an electrical kind of thing? And he was like, no, it's like somebody had pushed the buttons like over and over. Like it was like they were going in.
Do you think it was a ghost that like was there before elevators were there and they were just like, this is amazing. This is so fun.
They're like Buddy the Elf.
Yes, like just pushing all the buttons. Or it was a child who could only reach that one. Yeah.
They were jumping to get that one. But it said that like that area is also where a woman ghost is said to be. They don't ever give her a name.
No.
But she likes to call people by name.
Oh, I don't
like that. No, and it's repetitive.
Oh.
Like they warn new hires about it. I
really hate that.
So, yeah. So they've never actually seen her. I don't know how they know it's a woman. I don't know if they've had like
she calls people by name, like they hear her voice.
That's true. You know? That's true. Yeah, so it must be that.
It must assume, I guess.
Look.
What is that?
I don't.
Why is that happening?
I don't know.
I have tears in my eyes. I could cry. I feel like somebody's watching us and I don't like it.
Oh, that's so
Let's
creepy.
finish this recording.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
be done.
Okay.
I don't like this.
Okay. Anyways, so Linda Troynak in 2015 said that not long after she started her job as a manager and a buyer for the hotel gift shop, she had walked from the garage to the bathrooms and she heard a soft young voice.
Oh, you're doing a thumbs up.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay.
We don't have a stalker, everyone. We're okay.
Ooh, that was scary.
What? Why does it not do it when I do it?
Oh, it did.
It did.
It just took a second. Okay.
We're so stupid. We're so dumb. We have spent like 5 minutes of this recording panicking over that.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
We are not qualified to be doing this. This is ridiculous.
I got scared by a thumbs up.
I was terrified. I was straight up like, somebody is watching us. Somebody is tracking our location as we speak.
This is like creepy. Like we're gonna die tonight. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Nope. We were just
fine.
Doing thumbs ups. What? If these don't show up on the recording, I'm gonna be so mad.
I am too.
They will. They sure will.
That was like fireworks behind us for those listening.
That was crazy. Okay. Anyway.
Okay.
Wild. Okay. Continue. Okay. Sorry. I will not do any thumbs
I know.
up.
I'm gonna try not to do a thumbs up anymore, not try to bang the table either, as I just did. Okay.
Yeah, if you guys are listening just on audio, like, thank you for listening. But you might want to watch the video on this one because that was crazy.
Okay. So she was walking from the garage past the bathrooms and she heard a soft young voice say, "Linda."
Absolutely not.
I turned around and there was no one there. None of the offices on the second floor were open. I looked over the railing to see if there was somebody in the dining room below. Nothing.
Nope.
Don't like that.
I don't like that at all. If I see a ghost, I want to be able to tell myself that it is just residual energy.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's residual. It's not intelligent. It's just there.
Yeah.
If it's saying your name, you can't tell yourself that.
Nope.
And I don't like that.
Nope. The director of engineering, John Nuanez, has worked at the hotel for more than 40 years. He didn't believe in ghosts until a couple of years ago when the same disembodied hallway voice called his name. Nobody was around. 2 days later, he was walking down the hall when the dining room and everybody was there. There were tons of people there, and he heard the same female voice call his name twice. There were guests there, but nobody he recognized, nobody that was talking to him.
Oh my goodness, I hate it.
So he's had other experiences too. He walked into the basement and saw somebody standing in the boiler room in a blue uniform. He turned and he looked back and the person was gone.
Maybe that one's residual. That's what I have to keep telling myself.
His wife, Mary Nuanez, is the director of housekeeping. They actually met at the hotel and have been married for 36 years.
I love them so much. They're precious. I don't know them, but I love them because that's so cute.
Isn't that so cute? What happens to her is not cute.
Oh no. What's her name? Mary?
Mary.
Poor Mary.
Something shoved her into a wall.
Nuh-uh.
Yes.
I bet John was so mad.
I would have
been mad.
Ghost, get your hands off my wife. She said she wasn't scared so much as put off by the unnecessary act of violence. I'm like,
yeah, that is just rude.
That is rude. She said, I was a little stunned. I didn't just lose my balance.
Yeah, no, if you trip or if you're shoved into a wall.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And she said during the shutdown, she then joined the creepy club of people who heard that soft voice calling for them.
Oh no. She
said, I was turning the corner on the mezzanine and I heard my name as clear as can be. She turned around and no one was there.
Of course.
Oof. But yeah, so
they need to give her a name. They need to give the ghost a name.
I know. So the people that work there say that most of the time the encounters aren't really scary, but some are, like the sound of a child crying on the second floor. Even going door to door, they can't figure out which room the wails are coming from. And One person said that they saw a child's hands reflected in a bathroom mirror on the second floor. I don't
Mirror stuff scares me so much.
Don't like that.
I'm very like, can't have a mirror facing my bed. Like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I can't. Mirrors freak me out.
Yeah. And then one person has said he's seen the bride 3 times. Okay. And then he also occasionally will run into the ghost of Sam Ballin. Sam Ballin was a Dallas oil man who owned the La Fonda from 1968 until his death in 2007.
Oh, okay. Recent ghost.
Yeah. He said, I knew him when he was alive, and he looks the same as he did with his hats and with his hat and his boots.
Well, that's kind of nice.
So he's just like walking around checking on the place. So the employees at the La Fonda say that the ghosts aren't menacing, that they're not scary, but some are mischievous. So this is kind of like Theodora.
Okay. Oh, I love Theodora so much. I hope I get to meet her.
So they say that there have been a couple of instances, one particular instance where a guest insisted that somebody had broken into her room and gone through her things.
It was Theodora looking for her key and packing.
So we did an electronic key lock reading and found no one had gone in there. But somebody or something had definitely disturbed this woman's belongings. They threw her clothing all over the room. There were underwear and socks hanging from the chandelier over her bed.
No, that's rude. Underwear, come on.
And that is the story of the La Fonda.
That was great. I love that. So much better than my story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Much better than your story.
Yes, for sure. Good job.
Thank you.
That would be a fun place to go.
It would be a fun place to go. Although I'd be ticked if my underwear was hanging from the chandelier. That's mean.
I'd make sure to bring like cute underwear just in case.
I know.
You know?
Oh, my granny panties.
Oh, yeah, none of that. Anyway, yeah. Good story. Good story.
Thank you. All right. Well, we hope that you guys have enjoyed listening to this story. Although Madison's, I don't know if you can really say enjoy listening.
Nobody enjoyed mine, and that's okay. I understand.
Sorry.
I didn't enjoy mine either.
Sorry about that. Hope you enjoyed mine.
I hope they got to yours.
I hope they stuck with it. They just kept hitting the 10-second speed up.
They should have said, like, if you don't want to hear a horrible story, skip.
Yeah.
Now. Skip like an hour.
Yeah. If you like us, make sure that you rate and review us on whatever listening platform you are on. If you have not already, make sure that you send our show to people who you think will enjoy it.
Subscribe on YouTube. That helps us out a lot.
Yes.
And if you have any story suggestions or anything, send them to spookyokiepodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at spookyokiepodcast.
Don't forget to support us on Patreon at Spookyoki Podcast.
Sure. I always link it in the show notes.
She links it in the show notes,
you can give us money. $3 a month.
Yes.
That's it. That's all it is.
That's all you got to do.
You get access to all of our ridiculous stories, all the tangents we go on, and our video investigations.
Yes.
So make sure you support us on Patreon.
All right. I think that's it. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Stay spooky.
Stay spooky.